Hello BR fans and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you what might be your next favourite battle royale. It's scheduled for release in the free-to-play model in 2022 or 2021 if you're Korean. And I'm one shot. Let's get into it. Korean developers Wonder People have created what's being advertised as PUBG with superpowers. And after getting my hands on the closed beta yesterday, I can in fact confirm that's exactly what it feels like. Superpeople has a go at adding some new concepts to the BR formula that we know and love, and shakes up some existing ones as well. The game in its current state in beta has a few light options to customize your super person or soldier. What are we calling these guys? And the game starts as you'd expect. You drop into a large map filled with buildings that you need to raid through to acquire loot and weapons to defend yourself and be the last player or team standing. But what Superpeople adds here is bringing over some almost, I guess, RPG-like gameplay mechanics in an attempt to make each game feel like its own journey or story, with a sense of progression not just in overall rank, but in the games themselves. This ambitious idea sounds cool on paper, but in practice it can feel a little dragged out and underwhelming at times. Starting a match has a randomly selected class assigned to you. Now, there are 12 in total, and they're pretty varied in description, actually. I won't go through them all here for the sake of time, but the Seeker class was what I was most fond of. They can spot valuable items through walls and have a fast, evasive ultimate ability that sees them sliding at super speed in any chosen direction multiple times. So the way the game works is by having your character level up. I hope you could feel my air quotes there. RPG style during each game by either getting kills, staying alive, or swallowing the brightly coloured super capsules littered around the map. As your character class progresses through the levels, you'll unlock class abilities and eventually your ultimate skill, which, depending on which class you're playing as, have different cooldown timers. For example, the fast slide from the Seeker that I mentioned has a lot quicker cooldown than the tactical strike class who can cool down a nuke. Understandable, right? But most of the abilities are just passive buffs or adding some explosive equipment to your arsenal. A little disappointing because in gunfights, I'm not really going to notice my plus 10% defense to leg shots or whatever it was. I'm too busy, in the gunfight. It would have been nice to see some more actionable abilities, in my opinion. Some things that might help turn the tide of battle without being stupidly overpowered like some of the ults, such as the SWAT class ultimate Blackout, which makes your screen, other than your character model, completely black for a period of time, allowing enemy players to just leave the cover they were shooting you from in favor of standing a foot away, lighting you up as you attempt to remember the geometry of the room and escape. Leaves you feeling a little robbed. Crafting is part of the experience. Yes, crafting. There are plenty of different types of crafting items which you'll need to gather in order to upgrade your armor and weapons during the game. You can get lucky and find good gear out in the wild, but it's a lot faster to craft the items yourself. For me though, the crafting was kind of fun the first few times I did it, but after a while I learned it's yet another thing, system or mechanic in the way of me being ready to take on players and actually engage in the fights. I'm sure some players are going to love this aspect though. It can really make you feel confident going into battle with all legendary gear on. Now it's time for the Nepo's Critique! I'll start with the movement. The game feels very much like PUBG in its movement, something I've never been too fond of personally. It feels a bit slow and clunky, just trying to reposition in a gunfight sometimes is a struggle in itself, because the weight of the character seems to range from floaty and weightless to feeling like you've been strapped with mafia-style cement boots. The sprint button seems to decide how long it takes to actually make your character sprint, and mantling on literally anything, even a window ledge, takes multiple business days. Jumping feels like it did in PUBG, janky and weird. And while we're mentioning jumping, you think, for supposed super soldiers, or people, they could at least do superhero-esque landings from a bit more height than a regular human? Well, no, not here. You'll see the most pitifully short drops shave off a healthy portion, if not all of your health on impact. Crunchy impact. The gunplay, again, feels a lot like PUBG. The recoil for each gun and weapon type needs some getting used to before you can fire fully auto in straight lines. To its credit, I didn't think the guns felt too bad, but paired with the incredibly clunky movement, the game seems to favour players who hold positions and gatekeep over bombastic battles with superpowers. Little bit of a shame given the concept. Alright, next up we've got the graphics and optimization. Graphically this game looks okay. It's got an art style. It's a bit more, I suppose, Fortnite looking than anything else. Very bright colours and saturation meant that when I loaded it up in the dark room for the first time, it kind of hurt my eyes, so just make sure you play with a lamp nearby, guys. The graphical options are pretty decent, sort of what we expect from modern gaming on PC. Has nice low latency Nvidia settings with multiple DLSS options to play with too. The overall optimization of the game though I found to be horrific. I was wondering which engine they used and then was extremely surprised to find out that it was Unreal Engine. One of the first reasons I wanted to stop playing it was because of the frame freezing and stuttering. My 3070 and 5600X were giving me constant 120 plus FPS on 1440p, but the game would just severely lag sometimes for no reason. And I'm not talking about internet connection lag either. For example, ADSing with anything but a red dot sight or iron sights had the entire frame freeze on my screen and actual seconds would pass before I got the control back. These are issues that I hope will be fixed for players when the game actually launches, but as it stands, it's almost unplayable at times. How can I play a shooter when I'm scared to ADS? The server connection wasn't great most of the time either, with bullets either not registering or players clipping through buildings or doors. This is just a beta, and some of this may change, but I feel it won't. And although the game might not be for me, I can see there being some players who really gel with the gameplay ideas and get invested here. The game is releasing for PC players on Steam in the typical early access form, which seems to be the go-to way to bring a game out these days, meaning it can evolve, or it cannot, over time and be played by the public during that process.
And spend money on microtransactions.
But, you know, on the plus side, this is free to play, so when it releases, you actually lose nothing, except maybe some time by downloading it and giving it a go yourselves. Can recommend this to PUBG veterans and players who prefer a slow, methodical gunfight over the more sort of COD-style run and gun. So far, there's no confirmed release date window, but with Warzone Pacific releasing today, it's a safe bet to assume the devs might want to give that some breathing room. If you have enjoyed today's video, then
make sure you subscribe and press the like button, as there's a lot more where this came from.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry about the needlessly dramatic edits. I'm just trying to make this as engaging as possible. We got some Warzone Pacific content coming very soon, and obviously we're still on hold with Bloodhound, just waiting for news. So as soon as I hear some, I'll make videos about it. Don't worry, I'll keep you all informed. Yep, stay safe, stay cool. Hope you're well and happy, and I'll catch you in the next one.